Well, it's the new week. I think we've gone over any sort of housekeeping that needed going over. Thank you all for being here, and it's time to delve in because, again, I will not be having a 5th session at the end of the week, so we're going to get everything done in 4. Let's get going. Yeah, sound good? And Evelyn, if there are other things you want to bring up or concepts you want to explore, even experimentally with what we're doing for this week, this is an open kind of loosey-goosey week, right? I don't know the type of map we're going to make. We're going to go back to what we were doing originally and completely generate a fresh location or a city if we get a bunch of urchins or thieves or something. And well, I won't know until tomorrow because then we'll have 3 of our 5 characters, and that'll point us in a really good direction. ASM, yeah, Steel Dust. I saw you made the comment earlier about that. What was the particular ASMR that had sent you off to sleep after we generated Delilah Steel Dust as a Tremere in Bloodlines and started piloting her through California? All right, so here's our modified form fillable sheet. Here's our dice roller. You've probably seen this before. This is when the magic happens. Percentile, female, male, multi-class. Female. A female what? Let's determine that with a D10. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A female Dragonborn. All right, now Dragonborn, they get kind of 10 sub-races, although we've opened it up to possibly being 12, because we'll allow for other things to exist too. Why don't we roll a d6 and find out? 2. Alright, so either green or brass, and then we'll go odds for green, evens for brass. I'll roll it again. Evens. Alright, so we have a female brass Dragonborn. Gonna get poison breath weapon. That'll be interesting. I really think it's your voice. I quite often fall asleep listening to you. Pluck my creativity. Oh, well, I'm happy to be amused, and I'm glad that my voice is more than tolerable. That's a good start, right? Okay, we have 2 D100s. As you can see, there are 2 axes upon which we're rolling. Change that to a 2, and you can either hit roll on this dice roller, or you can hit the 2 purple percentiles here. Or violet, lavender, whatever you want to call them. 25 and 10, we are lawful good. Ooh, a lawful good. Female brass Dragonborn. Don't have to worry about any special rules for alignment here because we're not evil. That would invoke the paladin and the cleric options in the DMG for the more spoopy stuff. 1d100 for the level. 3. Okay. Well, so what I was, can I speak common? Can I just speak common a little bit here? The minimum character level I would like to generate would be 4. That way, it's not that far past 1. We're getting every character through an archetype, and we can also determine if they get a feat or an ASI. We can talk a little bit about the strategy. So in this case, we are going to be generating a level 4 character. We'll fill that in right here. Now we're going to roll percentile to determine, is that ASI, ability score, increase, or a stat bump really? Is it going to be that, or will it be a feat? 90, we are going to be taking a feat. There we go, nice. What is she? What is she? What is she? Well, you know, race and class are important, so too are backgrounds. And in fact, backgrounds are what you've done arguably before you were your class. What was the job? You know, it's like, what was your first job? What did you get? Did you grow up on a farm, and are you training? You know, were you receiving training on the farm, and then you kind of went into being a fighter because you're a big, tough, you know, country girl or country boy? Cheer 200. The best thing comes during ASMR. Oh, yeah. I don't think a cheer went through. Hey, there it is. Oh, wow. Oh, jeez. And thank you for that. And Spicy. The power of ASMR. Well, let's say that the gentlest of voices oftentimes can topple the spiciest of rulers. Spicy Larry. No! ¿Por qué? We are going to roll a 13-sided die. We are going to go back to our roots of the PHB. Last week for the horror campaign, we did open it up to the character background in Curse of Strahd called Haunted One. And to tease a little bit, I've been considering making some expanded options. More on that later, though. For a lot of what we do, I want to stick to the basic books because those are the most accessible, and that is the foundation of all our D&D 5th edition games. All right, see this right down here? We're going to change that to a 13, meaning we're going to get a number between 1 and 13 and hit it. 11. Ooh, okay, so she is going to be a sailor or pirate. If I must slumber to return spicier, so be it. That's true. You know, every time Spicy is thrown down, he comes back spicier and spicier. Steel Dust is our resident sleeper. Yvonne, I'd be interested in a custom background option. That is content also that I think we can go over, is to have a week or two dedicated, not to necessarily make a campaign or not. I should take that back. We can do maybe a long-term exercise like Mesotopia, where we come up with custom monsters. We'll go over those rules. We'll make some monsters. We'll do custom backgrounds. We'll do, maybe we can even toy around with a custom class, custom races, things like that. That is technically in the PHB, true. Though we can have a couple weeks, maybe a month of some customization that can all build to a very interesting game to show an example of how house rules can work, or considerations when you are making and trying to balance an aspect of D&D outside of the core books. Now, there are no particular origins for sailors or pirates. They're fairly straightforward. There is an option for the background feature that we can get, but we'll get to that. Right now, though, we're going to get 2d8 personality traits and 3d6 other parts of her background. 5 and 2. So we're going to use these as placeholders, right? Don't worry about what these say just yet. We'll get there. 3d6. 4, 3, 4. Okay. Now we get to push the big golden button right here and determine which class she is. You happy to guess for the custom monsters since I'm working on this for Lacuna? Even the background sounds have ASMR whispers. The gods of slumber fall. Well, Steel Dust, hey, especially if you need a little bit of a hand sleeping, I admit, hey, I watch Bob Ross on the weekends, and I'm not always conscious for his for his presentations. Here we go. Oh, the big golden button. What is she gonna be? 2. A bard. Okay, then. There are 2 kinds of bards. We're going to hit the D12 and go odds or evens. Another 2. Ooh, how auspicious. Well, that is College of Valor, meaning College of Valor, she's the front-line bard. She doesn't sit back in taverns necessarily and sing songs. She was there. The songs she sings are ones she made because she's seen some stuff. In this case, maybe even on the high seas. Bard, College of Valor. Dragonborn stats. This is the last little bit of random number generation we're going to be making. Let's add a happy little dream right up here. And you get that nice that ASMR of the brush on the canvas. You know, that Evelyn, I was talking to someone earlier in my stream about bards, and I mentioned that I dislike the idea of them being performers. They're a legit full spellcasting class. An ASMR bard that puts enemies to sleep. Right? So you want to make a custom archetype for bards that focus on lullabies and dream time and soothing sounds. Let's see. For Dragonborn, they start at 5'6", and we're going to add 2d8 inches. Well, we already have our 2. We're adding 3 inches. She is 5'9". We're going to take this same 3 and multiply it by 2d6 to add a little extra weight to her. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 175. She's 187 pounds. Not the biggest Dragonborn, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know, especially, look, if you're a sailor, you're very physically active. There's not always food and drink handy. So she's probably very lean. She can have muscle. In fact, if she's a Valor bard, I'd argue she probably has more muscle than a lot of others. Now, her age. We're going to roll a percentile and find out where on this distribution curve her age falls. 24. Okay, she is going to be a young adult. And we go to Dragonborn, right? Young adult is 2. Go right there. Here's 2. Now let's see where it intersects. 16 to 25, we're going to roll a d10. 8. So, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. She is 28 years old. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the random number generation portion of her character. Yet the journey of who she is, where she's been, what she's been doing, has only just begun. We can eschew our RNG generator and start here in backgrounds. They are listed alphabetically. This will flash a little bit, so hang on here. We're going to go to S, element, here we go, Sage and Sailor. We sailed on a seagoing vessel for years. In that time, you faced down mighty storms, monsters of the deep, and those who wanted to sink your craft into the bottomless depths. Your first love is the distant line of the horizon, but the time has come to try your hand at something new. Discuss the nature of the ship you previously sailed with your dungeon master. Was it a merchant ship, a naval vessel, a ship of discovery, or a pirate ship? How famous or infamous is it? Is it widely traveled? Is it still sailing, or is it missing and presumed lost with all hands? What were your duties on board? Boatswain, captain, navigator, cook, or some other position? Who were the captain and first mate? Did you leave your ship on good terms with your fellows, or on the run? Lots of roleplay prompts. This is an excellent role-playing class, or background. Skill proficiencies, athletics, and perception. You have to be on the lookout. Tool proficiencies. We are going to get proficiency with navigator's tools and vehicles, water. Equipment, a belaying pin, which is a club. $50 feet of silk rope, which will go in our backpack down here. A lucky charm, such as a rabbit foot or small stone. In this case, it could be a trinket. Lucky charm, and we'll just put a colon, and we know to come back to that. A set of common clothes. And a belt pouch containing 10 gapuz. Now, we have 2 options for our feature. Oh, you'd argue the belaying pin isn't a weapon. It doesn't have to be. It could be statted as a club. The bling pin could be the lucky charm if we really wanted it to be. It could just be a memory too. Feature ship's passage. When you need to, you can secure free passage on a sailing ship for yourself and your adventuring companions. You might sail on the ship you served on or another ship you have good relations with, but perhaps one captained by a former crewmate. Because you're calling in a favor, you can't be certain of a schedule or a route that will meet your every need. Your dungeon master will determine how long it'll take to get where you need to go. In return for your free passage, you and your companions are expected to assist the crew during the voyage. A variant feature, she can have a bad reputation. If your character has a sailor background, you may select this background feature instead of ship's passage. No matter where you go, people are afraid of you due to your reputation. When you are in a civilized settlement, you can get away with minor criminal offenses, such as refusing to pay for food at a tavern or breaking down doors at a local shop, since most people will not report your activity to the authorities. Now, could a lawful good character have bad reputation? Sure. I don't see why not. Look at it this way. Let's say that our campaign was set in a... Right, if you all have seen Pirates of the Caribbean, you know that there's Tortuga, right? It's the pirates' island. You know, it's all loosey-goosey. Anything goes. You know, you drink, fart, and cuss anywhere you want. A little bit of slap and tickle of the wenches. You know, you can just openly carry, you know, swords and pistols and whatever, right? Well, in that case, it might be more of a good reputation, because the environment in which the campaign would be set is such that the bad guys are the majority, and you are a privateer, or you are you're an honest merchant, something along those lines. And so we can twist that a little bit and conceptualize it to be, well, because you have such a good reputation, that other things happen. You don't have to kick in doors per se, but with your authority, right? If you're the governor, the island governor's head detective or something like that. I don't know. You know, you're the head customs officer. You don't kick in doors, but with your authority, you can demand that they're opened because you have legal backing behind your claims. So think about things like that, right? Turn a bad reputation into a good reputation. Or you can even say, yeah, as a player character of this person, say, I used to be the most horrible, you know, drinking, you know, lewd jokes. You know, I would challenge my crewmates in, you know, who could afford the highest costing local service at a house of ill repute. You know, to try and out-arm wrestle, out other things, the other sailors, but you gave that up for some reason, right? Maybe you found a religion, maybe you had a near-death experience and you reflected on how much has happened. So you can keep the bad reputation, and, you know, can you be lawful good? And if you go into a bar that is a known front for drug activity, would you still kick in that door? You know, with official, like, governor's authority or not? Well, people would know you there, and carrying that bad reputation could still bring you benefits even for being lawful good. So you can take a lot of this literally, or use it as a concept, as a guide to, well, we're going to keep 98% of this, but Mr. or Mrs. DM, can I change this 2% to look at it from a slightly different angle? Again, communication is key. This is a very DM heavy back and forth background. So this is prompting a conversation. Darkwolf trying to turn a new leaf, occasionally slips up but tries harder afterwards. That could very well be too. You know, if we want to even look at an anime example, look at Rurouni Kenshin. If that's making sense to you, then maybe you're getting something that I'm bringing across here. But yeah, in fact, she could have been, right, variant sailor pirate. Heck, we could even have a lawful good pirate if you want to keep the ship's passage for its benefits, but you don't want the bad reputation. but you're a pirate, but you're now lawful good. You've turned that new leaf, or you've unfurled that new sail into the wonderful, pure virgin winds of the sea of freedom and do-goodedness. Instead of skulking in the dark, you're sailing under the bright sun. So, things to think about, right? In fact, why don't we keep these options open? We'll keep Sailor Pirate, and we'll keep Ship's Passage / Bad Reputation. We can always go back and find out. We've entertained ideas. They're on the table. Now let's go through the rest of her personality, and maybe that'll help us determine a little bit more about which one of these makes more sense. Okay, page 2. Personality traits, 5. To me, a tavern brawl is a nice way to get to know a new city. Steel Dust, in a campaign I'm in with some friends, we are a group of almost Robin Hood bank heisters, and we have a lawful good character that we say still does bad things, but in the world of scum, they are a very good person. Yeah, exactly, Steel Dust, you got it. You're picking up what we're laying down. Because alignment can be a personal thing, right? We had some of those chaotic neutral characters from last week, and they were chaotic neutral not just because they're like, ooh, what crazy wackadoodle, I'm gonna wake up and do something lol random. I'm the Penguin of Doom, I'm holding up a spork. It's not like that. It's because they're so conflicted, right? We had the divination wizard. She gets so much information, she's trying to process it, she's conflicted. Maybe there's things that she wants to do or doesn't want to do, and they happen anyway, and it's almost an affliction. Or, as Steel Dust said, it's an external view of the character. Oh man, that personality trait totally sells me on bad reputation. That very well could be. In fact, even with this first character, we may even have our own little custom. We may have our own little custom campaign setting, and we only made one character of 2 tonight. Oh, shoot. That was 3? I think that was 3. Let me go back. 2d6. D12. Nope, go back. 2d8. 5 and 2. It was a 2. I work hard so that I can play hard when the work is done. Okay. There's nothing in the law that says I can't rough up the locals. Plunder, loot, alignment, easiest way starting an argument in D&D. And good afternoon, konnichiwa, Romonger. O genki desu ka? Ideals, 4. Mastery. I'm a predator, and the other ships on the sea are my prey. This is evil, though this can still work with a lawful good character, especially on the heels of what we have just talked about. With Ivalon's concept, with Steel Dust's experience. Bonds, 3. I'll always remember my first ship. And that's a prompt for us to maybe make a ship also, to conceptualize what was this ship about. And flaws, number 4. We are all flawed creatures. Once I start drinking, it's hard for me to stop. Now, does it have to be drinking? Doesn't have to be. It could be some other kind of a vice. It could be once I start, so drinking carries kind of an inebriation, or, eating a lot isn't necessarily a vice, unless for some reason you get the itis all the time and you just fall asleep afterwards. But it can be, once I start... something, it's hard for me to stop. Shooting, fighting, cussing. We could have it be a lot of things. It could be something we imbibe. It could be a pleasure of the mind or flesh. It could be some kind of a, I don't know, almost like a Tourette's, you know, where you blurt out words, and once that starts up, it's very difficult to stop. That would be a flaw, right? You're in the middle of a parlay with someone, and you just start saying things that a PG-13 stream can't say. We could make this theme everyone is a pirate background. I don't think I've done a sea-based campaign. Mesotopia has included elements, but we haven't done a sea-based one. That is correct. Romonger? I genki desu. Arigato gozaimasu, Romonger. In fact, because it was a couple days, I can even say Ohisashiburi desu. Nay. Ivalon, or work everyone into now pirates. Yeah, you are a pirate. We can keep that in mind. We can keep that in mind. Oh, I bet she knows all kinds of fun sea shanties and other songs. You know, I won a contest in the Final Fantasy XIV community, because they put out contests, because I wrote a sea shanty based on one of the NPCs. That was the contest was about an NPC, or rather a legend about an NPC, and I wrote a sea shanty, and that ended up winning, and I got a fun in-game prize for that. That was really cool. Oh, just find some 10-hour mix, Ivalon. Well, I don't know about that. I'll meet you halfway, though, because we can just go on the open ocean. You know, we're out of our Pirate's Cove. We found One-Eyed Willie's treasure, and we're good. Yeah, what'll he do with a drunken... You know, I actually, because I was a certain tier backer on 7th Sea, I received a download of various sailor or sea shanties. They made a CD to accompany the RPG. I'd have to try and find it somewhere, but I have a whole... I think I have a whole thing of sea shanties somewhere. Oh, 7th Sea is a lot of fun, Ivalon. It's Princess Bride, the tabletop game. Well, that's one way you could look at it. Okay, we have finished our background. Now it's time to hop up to Dragonborns. What do we get as a Dragonborn? Oh, hey, you know what? I have 2 sets of horns now. Early in the morn, tie him up until he's sober, tie him up until he's sober, tie him up until he's sober, early in the morning. Age, well, we have that. We have alignment. We have size. We are a med. We're a med creature. Speed, our running speed is 30. Therefore, our climb speed is 15, and our swim speed is 15, and our fly speed is 0. We do not have wings, despite being Dargans. Draconic Ancestry. You have Draconic Ancestry. Choose one type of dragon from the Draconic Ancestry table. Your breath weapon and damage resistance are determined by that. Well, it just so happens that we did just that. We are a brass. And so we actually do get fire breath, not poison, because metallics have 2 fire breathers. Now, do you want to change that for your campaign world? Do you want to keep it even up? Sure. Give brass a poison weapon. Do you want to give, I don't know, fire something else? Sure, do it. Have fun. These are your Dargans. You play with them. This does mean, though, that we are going to get fire resistance right here. IRV, immunities, resistances, and vulnerabilities. Let's fill in that radio button. We do get a breath weapon. DC something. For fire, it is Dex. For 2, we're at the point where it's only 2d6. Fire. Save for half. And by the way, this is a brass breathes fire in a line, not in a cone. So this is like a you're gleeking, like you're a flamethrower. You're gleeking some sort of napalm. Yep, Dargans, Dark Wolf. We're talking about Dargans. The Dishonored version of that is super creepy. Yes, it is spicy. It is very creepy. And it was very well done. All my shanty knowledge comes from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Well, I'm sure they had a lot in there, too. Rose says, and we'll be privateers in my champagne. Well, cheers to your champagne and campaign alike. It's all about that brass, no trouble. All that brass, no copper, no silver. The Dishonored theme could make any song. Clark, hey Clark, it's good to see you. The hat matches the background. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I wore my Viking horns, and it just so happens that we rolled up a Dragonborn. And every time we get Dragonborn, the way that this is set up is I get a... Well, I look more like a tiefling, right? I have horns and a tail. Brass for the brass throne, blood for the blood god. That's true. Khorne does favor brass. I mean, he favors blood and skulls, but I think he is a very a brass and a brash chaotic god. Languages. Common and Draconic. There we go. We are finished. Remember, turkeys are done. People are finished. Classes. B for Bard. Bad internet gonna be worse than normal. Have you been getting a lot of snow? We got snow earlier, Clark, and we're here in northern Ohio. So I only imagine if we got a light dusting, you must have a couple feet that dumped on you. A Rowmonger. Oh, okay, yeah, there is a blizzard warning. Gotcha. Yep. All right. Well, I looked up one other word that I missed, and or one line. D8 hit dice. Well, we are level 4, which means we get 4 of these things. We get these 4 D8s, and we've used 0 of them. What does that mean? Well, it's our innate healing. It's our ability to recover our wits, to catch our breath. However you want to conceptualize hit points, hit die are your intrinsic way to heal and recover without needing to ask your cleric, whose spell slots are a little bit more arguably valuable or an emergency use only, so you can heal yourself. Now, we are not multi-classed, so if you want, you can just X this out. You can put zeros, whatever you want. But let's say we were a bard sorcerer. Well, then we would put our bard D8s here and our sorcerer D6s over here. Armor proficiencies, light armor. Hit points, okay, yep, we're gonna get that. Oh, simple weapon. Oh yes, we have custom stuff. Simple. And crossbows. Long, short swords. And the Rapier. 40 centimeters since Sunday. That almost sounds like I don't know, that sounds like some like grunge rock band. 40 now live, 40 centimeters since Sunday. Woo, yeah, 40 centimeters since Sunday. Another 60 to 70 expected overnight. Wow. Here we are in mid-April too. You gotta find something to eat. Enjoy. Oh, totemo oishi tabemono. Totemo. Dark Wolf, it's too late for snow. Spring is a lie. Clark, not too late for spring for me. Winter never ended. So Clark is living real life Neverwinter. Temps just got a lot milder, but the snow keeps coming. I, for one, am okay with that. Clark welcomes his snowy overlords. Tools, we were also going to get proficiency in 3x instruments. Question marks to indicate we should come back to that. Saving throws, dexterity, so we're going to fill in this little diamond, and charisma, that little diamond. Now we get to choose any 3 skills. Ooh, alright, well, I'm going to make a note of that. Alright, what kind of skills would she have as a Sailor Bard? Sailor Bard Dragonborn, actually. Okay, we do get spell casting, cantrips, spell slots, ability. We do cast rituals as well, and we can use a musical instrument as our focus. We're worried about this little sliver right here. We're going to know 3 cantrips. 1, 2, 3. And 4 and 3 for spell slots. 4 and 3. We've used 0, and we're going to leave the rest blank. Or if you want, you could put like X's or something, if you think that'll help, or you can leave them blank. It's up to you. Bartek Inspiration, we are going to get these. These are oh, we're almost at 5th level, but it's not quite there yet. D6s. There we go. And we'll get as many as, we have a charisma modifier. We are also going to get Jill of all trades. Song of Rest, which is apparently what we sing to Steel Dust every time we broadcast. We're also going to get Expertise in 2 skills. And of course our ASI, but we rolled, and she's going to be taking a feat of some kind. Now here's our College of Lore. We don't need that. She's College of Valor. She's been up in the mix. She has been in combat. She knows how to do things. We get bonus proficiencies, medium armor, shields, and martial weapons. So really what we can do here is go back to our weapons and type in simple, comma, martial, light, medium, shields. And we get what's called Combat Inspiration. And so if you don't want to write it in here, you could just change that to, instead of Bartek Inspiration, call it Combat Inspiration. Because you can still use your Bardic, but now with Combat, you get that additional feature. However you want to do it, whichever way makes sense and that you can remember how to use it in various conditions. We're not high enough yet to get the extra attack. So there's nothing necessarily that we're getting from our archetype just yet at level 4. Excellent. And, by the way, we are going to know 7 spells, which will be easy enough here. We get 1, we get a 2, a 3, 4, and 3. Whoa, hey, wrong way. Spells known at first level, we get, so let's go level 1. And we're going to copy and paste this. There's our level 1. Now, at level 2, we know one more spell, but it can only be of first level. At level 3, we know one more spell, and it can be second level. So, if we want, we can go level 3. If you want another level 1 spell, take it. This is just showing the basic progression of how you're going to end up getting spells. And finally, level 4, as you can see here, right? Spells known 4, 5, 6, and 7, so we know one more spell. And that can also be level 2, since that's our maximum. If you want to put it in 1, have fun. Do so. Most of these spells can ramp up and be cast through higher level slots as effectively a 4th level spell once you have that personal power to do so. Okay, well. Now we need to actually give her a name, and to do that we got to clear out these stats. Proficiencies +3. There we go. Clark says I was supposed to play Zoe tomorrow, but exam scheduling got in the way. Oh no! Yeah, what? You've been jonesing to play Zoe too, because this is the first time in a week or so, or 2 weeks now has it been, Clark? And you left on a cliffhanger, correct? If I'm recalling correctly, you left on a pretty big cliffhanger. We get a couple more things, by the way. A rapier, a longsword, or any simple weapon. So we can go rapier, longsword, or a simple weapon. We can look through the gear and see what's there. A diplomat pack. She probably doesn't have that. Probably an entertainer's pack. A lute or a musical instrument. So we'll put what her main instrument is. And leather armor. Oops. And a dagger. About 2 weeks, yeah, huge cliffhanger. Annoying thing is the game is still set to go ahead with the DM saying Zoe will be off doing his own thing away from the group. I guess that's going to set up a scene for the next time you play. Oh. But still, you want that chance to play it. You want to sit down and be able to get through it. Alright, these are my thoughts for the character. If you think differently for stats or weapons or whatnot, then, hey, say so. This is not my character. This is our character. We're building her together. I think we should go 15 charisma. I think we should go 14 dex. 13 con. 12 strength. 11 wisdom. Nope, I'm sorry. 10 wisdom. And 8 intelligence. This will give her, with the dexterity, this is reflecting, look, life on a ship, equal strength and dex, you swing around, you have some acrobatics and athletics. In a meta sense, if she wears medium armor, she can get no more than a +2 to dexterity anyway. And so at the beginning of the game, it will cap that out. Though, thinking of her roleplay-wise, I believe that a sailor would have these sorts of skills. The strength, because she can wield strength-based weapons, right? She gets martial access as a bard, as a Valor. So if we collapse this, let's go to equipment, right? So if you look there, all the medium armor, whatever, X plus Dex modifier max 2. Then we come over here. Let's make this a little bigger. You can use a rapier with finesse. I mean, we're already proficient with that if we did want a martial. But this can let her use other things, scimitars, short swords. A trident would be kind of interesting. Now, I know that we can only give her a simple. But if we look at a rapier costing 25 gold, a trident costing 5, I don't know. If you make that pitch to your DM and say, look, the package includes something that can cost up to 25, are you fine if I take another weapon, even if I lose the gold, or can I keep the gold, or can I buy 2 weapons for the budget? Propose something. Your DM may say yes, your DM may say no, but think creatively and be willing to bargain. Do we want to give her a blowgun? She could be proficient with a blowgun. So, if we do this, 14, 16, 2, 2, 1 for now, -1, 0, and 3. Blowgun that doubles as a flute? Yeah, hey, that's kind of sneaky, isn't it? Especially if you can make it out of metal, and that's where you shoot your fire spitballs out of. Spicy Larry can dig it. That's creative thinking. Let's give her a trident for funsies. D6 plus 2 piercing, and this is D8 versatile. So she can use both hands with it. If we want to, if Ivlon said maybe it's not actually a club, maybe she wouldn't wield it as such. If you did want to treat the belaying pin from her old ship as a club, it would be 1d4 plus 2 bludgeoning. Dagger is 1d4 plus 2 piercing. With her leather armor, until we can give her some medium, that's 11 plus dex, so her AC is 13. And we should choose her feat before we fill in much more, because that will have an impact on possibly some of her other scores, which will then spill over into her saves and her skills, as well as things like the DC for her breath weapon or some other aspects. If you did, I would not count it for weapons proficiency. It's an improvised weapon. Maybe, I don't know. As a sailor, it might count as a club for a sailor specifically because of how often you've been around them and possibly how many times you've had to use them as a club. Either way, you bring up a good point, Ivlon. Civil Hermit, hey, what's the campaign theme? This is, we don't have a theme this time because this week is going to be a little shorter. I probably will not be broadcasting Saturday. So we're not doing a Mesotopia theme. This is going to be open and somewhat random. Due to a conversation we had about the background of sailor or pirate, and how you can have a lawful good sailor or pirate, especially with the bad reputation background, we might end up making it more of a nautical theme. Yeah, pirates maybe. Pirates maybe. Now we need to open up Chapter 6 and look at a feat because we rolled that instead of taking an ASI, she will be getting a feat. What would be appropriate for someone like her, right? Let's look at her background. To me, a tavern brawl, hey, that might even give us what we're looking for. A tavern brawl is a nice way to get to know a new city, and I work hard so that I can play hard when the work is done. Mastery, she's a predator, and the other ships on the sea are my prey. She wants to be superior. She wants to be strong. I'll always remember my first ship, and once I start something, it's hard for me to stop. Now, the book supplies drinking. It can be drinking, but we can have it be some other kind of vice. You know, whether it's imbibing, whether it's, I don't know, shopping, whether it's, you know, a more carnal knowledge, something along those lines. Try asking it nicely, says Spicy. Pirates maybe. That could be an interesting campaign title right there. If we go even with that, here's Tavern Brawler. Accustomed to rough and tumble fighting, using whatever weapons happen to be in hand. Increase strength or con by 1. You are proficient. Hey, there we go. Look at that. As Ivalon said, you're proficient with improvised weapons and unarmed strikes. Your unarmed strikes use D4 for damage, and when you hit a creature with an unarmed strike or an improvised weapon, you can use the bonus action to attempt to grapple. I think we have our feat. Are you all comfortable with this? Especially because that means we can pop in that 1 into Constitution, into 14, and now she has a 2 for more HP and for a hardier breath weapon. I think Tavern Brawler is going to work out well. Opinions? The floor is open to you. Dark Wolf likes it. And this does solve the conundrum that you brought up, Ivalon. It's a legitimate consideration, and here's a legitimate way to address it. And it happened naturally. Civil, there's also a clarification in the improvised weapons paragraph. In many cases, an improvised weapon is similar to an actual weapon and can be treated as such. Yep, that was the official answer to the kind of roundabout, well, look, she's a sailor, she's been around them. In this case, we could just count it as such. Clark says Tavern Brawler are tough. Well, let's look at tough. Your hit point maximum increases by an amount equal to twice your level when you gain this feat. Whenever you gain a level thereafter, your hit point maximum increases. So we can make her super HP. Now that won't increase her con. It will just give her bonus hit points. Though if Clark is willing to go Tavern Brawler, maybe that's what we're going to end up giving her, but that's not a bad consideration. Up here, we're going to go Simple Martial Improvised. Unarmed. Con, I think we're going to put that in here and bring that to a 2. There we go. Now we can do some calculations. We're level 4. We took this feat. We can add, let's go 2, and she's good. Oh, we need to add some skills. I'm sorry. We still need to put 3 skills into her. Ding, 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 ding. 3 skills, 3 skills. What is she good at doing? We have athletics. Do we want to also say acrobatics, right? She kind of took equal measure. Maybe she can swing and climb. But we get to choose 3 skills from anything. Maybe she wants to go deception or something, right? Let's go back to her personality. To me, a tavern brawl is a nice way to get to know a new city. That could be intimidation. I work hard so I can play hard when the work is done. That could be also some kind of performance or persuasion. She'll always remember her first ship. And of course, we need to come up with her vice. Once she starts doing something, it's hard for her to stop, and that could be even reflected up here too. Rough and tumble sailor who likes a good fight, is able to live at sea for extended periods of time would be my reasoning behind tough. But tavern brawler works really well too. I completely understand you, Clark. I think if the con bump wasn't as important as it is to a Dragonborn, I could see tough being very much a viable option for her. So that way she can take more hits. She's fine with it. And because she is seasoned by her experiences. So, you know what, if we want to say, I don't know, if she likes to try and get to know people, we could go insight. Maybe we want to go, I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards acrobatics, intimidation, and I don't know, survival. Considering her dragon origins, maybe whenever I start gambling, treasure hoarding, and all that. Yeah, that could very well be too. Whenever I start breathing lines of fire, it's very hard for me to stop. So yeah, we got to come up with her flaw, and we need 3 skills, or buddy, 3 skills. While you're doing that, I'm going to fill in a little bit more info. Initiative is going to be +2 because that's her dex. Dragonborn gets 0 dark vision. Also, we get expertise in 2 of these skills. 2 skills are going to get an additional bump to them. If she's a gambler, I like sleight of hand. Okay. Laws on me. What edition game is this? As a 5e D&D noob, is this character sheet intrigues you? So this is 5th edition D&D. This is a slightly modified form-fillable PDF so that you get a lot more information on page 1. So welcome, Laws. And we are discussing what we do here. This is D&D 101. This is a workshop for player characters and DMs. We have taken random elements from the book, and now we're forming them to make a character with a personality, not just by the book, but we consider who she was before she was an adventurer, the things that she likes, the things that she doesn't. It's a storytelling workshop as well. So you are welcome, and even if you're a noob, I encourage you to ask questions and participate about what we're currently doing here or about anything that you have in general. Welcoming new players is a big part of this channel. So thank you for lurking, and then thank you for speaking up too and actively being one of us. I know it's just me, but the waves in the background are a bit loud. If they're loud for you, yeah, Spicy, I might be able to I might be able to address some things here. Hopefully that'll help. Tell me if they're good now, Spicy. That's right, I'm always up to learn how to be a better DM and be a better player, so expect tons of questions. Oh no! Just kidding, Laws. Look, a lot of us in this channel, we have first-timers like you. We have people who've been playing for, I don't know, a year or less, year or two. And there are old, seasoned people who've been playing various editions of D&D. You are still welcome at this table. Ask questions as much as you want. When we finish this character, because we're almost done, I'm going to take like a little 10-minute break. We still have some time for this character, and we're going to start fresh and make another new one, because every week we make a cast of 5 characters and we put them through a campaign of sorts. And that is our weekly project. It's episodic. You can come and go, so if you can't make it on a particular night, watch our VOD afterwards. You can catch it on YouTube. Thank you, Laws. I appreciate that. You can catch it on YouTube a day later, or the next time you're in the channel, just say, hey, what did I miss since last time? And we'll do our best to fill you in. A gambler who lives at sea a good chunk of time could also lend well to survival. Alright, so Clark and Civil are saying maybe sleight of hand. Well, if she has navigation, survival might be a part of that. So we get one more skill. We can put it in acrobatics, although what else might we have gotten here? Or did you all like the acrobatics, right? She has athletics and acrobatics, so she's a very physical character. And also, Laws, again, this is not my character. This is our character we're building together. Feel free to ask questions and make suggestions. You leave a fingerprint on her. She is just as much your character as mine or anyone else's. Intimidation can work. I mean, she doesn't have anything over here in charisma, but that's not necessarily the basis why we should be choosing these skills. We want them to reflect who she is as a person. But if she's not afraid to get into a bar fight, and she even took the feat support for that, I almost want to say we should give her intimidation. Unless the bar fight is more of a performance. What do you all think? If you, I'm going to leave the dot here, and if you have another suggestion, throw it out, and maybe I can move it. It's just a simple click of a button. It's not permanent ink. We also get expertise in 2 skills. Maybe the person playing this could ask the DM if it'd be okay to give up an expertise for another skill. If so, acrobatics and intimidation would fit, I think. Tavern Brawler and Sailor, you know. That's not a bad suggestion either. It's Clark. And that goes along with the things that we've been saying of communicate with your DM. In this case, instead of adding a double proficiency, can you spill over into learning 2 more skills? Your DM might say yes. DM might say no. Got to be prepared for that. And also, come to your DM with a bargain. Well, as in me, yeah, actually just got into D&D a little over a year ago. I learned the basics of the game watching Critical Role. Now I run a game with some pals every now and again. Hell, I wrote a university thesis about the benefits of tabletop gaming. Spicy Larry, you're not the only one. Laws on Me has done it too. That's really cool though, Laws. And in fact, if you want to join us when we're not broadcasting, or even as we are, feel free to pop in our Discord. So yeah, Clark, I do agree that it's something that can be brought up. I don't know if I'm using Ivlon as a bit of a foil because he and I are DMs in 2 different ways. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, I've really dug what Ivlon's been doing for his part of the Mesotopia campaign that he's going to be running next week. Well, you know, presenting as a guest DM. Though, Ivlon, what would you say in this case? So let's go with what It's Clark suggested. If Clark came to you, Ivlon, and said, can I sacrifice my 2 expertise for 2 other skills, what would you reply? probably say, why do you want 2 more skills? It's a fair question. Clark, do you want to retort? While you're doing that, by the way, King is saying shoulder pads for why do you want 2 more skills? Oh, thought that said skulls. Gotcha. While you're doing that, she's earned her name. She's no longer a set of stats. We can do a couple more calculations here. Our melee strikes are going to be dealing, let's see, we're attacking with a +5, right? Proficiency plus our strength modifier. There we go. Nice and easy. Our difficulty class, to avoid our spells, not our dragon breath, but our spells, is 8 plus proficiency, so we're at 11 plus charisma, so this is going to be 14. And our attack is going to be +6 because you just subtract the 8. It's your proficiency plus your appropriate modifier. And you get a number of inspiration equal to your... oh, actually, I think you get a little bonus on there too. Let me double check real quick. Number of times equal to your charisma modifier. Okay, no, alright, so that's what you get. It's Clark. I would say I like the idea of a sailor being able to do well in rough conditions, i.e. acrobatics, and would be a bar fighter, so intimidation would fit thematically. Would that pass your muster, Ivalon? Laws on Me says, is this character the brawny sort of tavern fighter, or is she a fast-talking hustler, kind of like Bruce Lee? She's more brawny. She's more of a physical character. Ivlon, so Clark, I would say that since it's mainly the background skills you want to change, I'd say pick those instead of the ones that Sailor gives you. Clark, do you have a retort to our like DM official, like, or whatever, our DM referee? King says, I don't understand why any PC would need intimidation when being a level anything murder machine would be enough. Hey, you don't always have to kill people, right, King? Not all the time. At first level, you get your maximum hit points for your hit die. Then, at your other levels, one way you can do it is, and this is my preferred method, is half plus 1. So she has 3 other levels at which she gets half plus 1, so 5. Every level, so 4, you get your Constitution modifier in bonus hit points. And here's our hit points. 8 plus 15. So 16 plus 15 is 31, and we have those 31 remaining. Dun, 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 dun. Civil says, my players have been making a habit of scaring their last surviving enemy into surrender to get info about upcoming traps and dangers. That's a very good methodology, Civil. I won't tell you anything. I do 1d4 plus 2 damage each and every round. Every round. Only if you hit, though, right? Let's see. Okay, that makes tons of sense. Intimidation seems to work for characters like that in my mind. But acrobatics is also interesting, and it plays against a brawny type. I think it really depends on how you want to play her. Well, so she's not super duper like Queen Universe, 20 strength or anything. She has equal strength, equal dex. So she has, I don't know, like leaner muscle. She's not like super swole, but she has a lot of muscle. She's used to swinging around on ropes on the ship, doing things like that. We can say athletics to climb, that kind of a thing. Though, if we're staying, like, without making a DM exception, Kind of like what Clark and Ivalon are having a good conversation, quasi meta, quasi RP conversation going on here. I don't know. I mean, jumping is, but swinging and other things like that. Going up is athletics. Coming down is usually acrobatics. As a good short way of remembering that. Acrobatics, it can be. It could also, well, if you want to make it athletics, to say how hard can you grip onto something. The two are kind of opposite sides of the same coin. Well, if you have a name, throw it out there, Dark Wolf. This is a fantasy character. For the Fire Breath line, it is going to be 8 plus con mod plus proficiency. So 13. Steel Dust, quite personally, as an athlete, doing anything in the air is far more acrobatic than athletic. That's so you're getting the inside scoop. Maybe she's a pirate because her parents gave her up. Dark Wolf says, call her Janet Passer. Ivalon says she was raised by a human pirate captain. Yeah, hey, so she has a human name for that reason. This character is hereby named Kith Wolfdark. And our friend Delcorin just started watching too. Welcome, friend Delcorin. Well, we get expertise and 2 skills. Let's say that it doesn't pan out. Our negotiations with our DM are somewhat unsuccessful. We can make her super proficient in, I don't know, maybe intimidation and athletics, because that's kind of her thing, right? She's a tavern brawler. We still need to decide, despite her being lawful good, she can still be a pirate. She can still be a sailor. And do we want to give her ship's passage or a bad reputation? As we entertain the fact that she could have turned a new leaf. Like that was the old her. Now she's the new her, but she still carries a reputation. Dark Wolf, King Van Alley's. Wait. And greetings, Delcorin. Greetings, friend Delcorin. You love bad reputation as a tavern brawler? That could even get you advantage, maybe in certain circumstances with intimidation. Though with that, so for Laws on Me or King or whomever, would we want her to have been or still be a pirate, or a sailor with a bad reputation? She's just a rough and tumble sailor, a merchant, something like that, or has she come from a pirate background? As an artist and an English major, I am always super interested in the narratives that surround characters. Do you guys already have a backstory? That's what we're putting together as we do character creation. As you may have noticed, Laws, the stats came last on her character sheet. We're building her as a character first, and then we're assigning stats and so forth. You marry mechanics of story, sailor associated with pirates. When did we become friends? I didn't know we were friends. So we're thinking sailor with a bad reputation. She's a tavern brawler. She likes it rough and tumble. She is lawful good, but she's in this environment, in this whatever environment that we're conjuring up right now in this campaign setting. This is maybe the norm. Maybe this is how you earn respect. The exercise comes from making the randomized elements make sense. That is very true, Civil. That is how we make our brains happier. I have a doozy of a story about a character I play IRL. Oh, yes. You are always welcome to tell stories. I'm thinking more like Robin Hood Pirates. Laws on Me says, I think the whole turning over new leaf stance is pretty smart. It gives the character depth. Pirates is more loaded than sailors. I think pirates have more intrigue built into their stereotypes. So Laws might want to go pirate instead of sailor. Well, I'm open to that as well. We can look, especially in 5th edition D&D, anything can be anything. I prefer to be referred to as Person Delcorin or Mighty Supreme Ruler Delcorin. Uh-oh, so King Delcorin is kind of treading in your territory here. And speaking of treading in territory, if we look above, Spicy Larry is not holding onto the throne much longer, it seems. Okay, so athletics is going to be 2 plus double proficiency, right? We click in this little circle here. That's going to be 8. 2 plus proficiency for the save is 5, so our sleight of hand is the same. Now, Jack, or in this case, Jill of all trades, gives half proficiency rounded down to skills in which we are not proficient, meaning our acrobatics are going to be a 3 instead of a 2, as is our stealth. Our saving throw will be -1, though all of our skills are going to be zeroed out. That's going to be 4, also for there. And we get double proficiency, so that's going to be 9. Very good. Like some sort of pirate that pirates pirates, or a PPP for short. A P3? A P cubed? It's Clark. I would have jumped right into the backstory and current story, but I've told it in time. Yeah, if you don't want to chat, or if you don't want to, Clark, to say it in chat, you don't have to. Though, just because you've told it once, you can retell it. That's up to you. If there are others that you think can draw inspiration from your story, or you can help, because yours is a very interesting story. You don't have to be fearful about repeating it. An anti-pirate cousin of the anti-paladin. Laws says King is possible for her to have had a more chaotic evil alignment in the past. Now she's lawful good. Reformed pirate is good too. Yeah. Well then, it seems like we might want to do a reformed pirate with a bad reputation. It is a brass. It is a brass female Dragonborn King. Now, ooh, she gets a lucky charm. We're going to get our percentile out and go to our trinkets. What kind of a trinket will she be receiving? Percentile and hit it. Her lucky charm is 84. A receipt of deposit at a bank in a far-flung city. We're going to just write number 84. A receipt of deposit at a bank in a far-flung city. Interesting. She's... Oh, passive perception, by the way, is going to be 13. 10 plus our perception modifier here. Ivalon says, ooh, ooh. Is the receipt hers or someone else's? Good question. It's almost like a treasure map. Except you know where the destination is. It's just, how do you get there? Or... how do you interact with it? It's a good question. Okay, the only thing really left to do would be to choose some spells for her. Oh, we have 14 plus 6. And we have our combat, not just Bartek Inspiration D6s. And she gets 3 of those, and we've used 0. And it's going to be us going through the spells, and what would she as a sailor, right? Because we're not doing this as we're building a party and we're saying, okay, you're the strong one, I'm going to be the magic one. What spells has she learned in her travels on the sea? What would a bard have? Probably something like dancing lights, right? Because you can make little humanoid shapes and you could make them dance, and not only are you providing light, because look, as a Dragonborn you need it, but you're making something that the other sailors might enjoy. Mage hand could be interesting. Mending, for sure, right? Mending sails, mending ropes, that could come in handy. Message could come in handy as well. Minor illusion, she could be a one-woman band. Prestidigitation could be interesting. Vicious mockery, I'd suggest having one combat spell. You don't have to, but I would suggest having a combat cantrip in case you're ever backed in a corner and you need something. Be a noble dragonborn singing the song of your people, accidentally accrue mass debt, turn to a life of pirating. Mordenkainen's lesser shopping spree. Clark says Brass Dragonborn being a sailor does beg questions. I like the idea of her parents giving her up and she somehow ended up being raised by a human pirate captain. Hey, so we have something really compelling for this character. In fact, we will Oh, vicious mockery for starting the tavern brawls? Hey, that makes sense. That's how their tavern brawls start. 10 out of 10 would watch the movie. Very good, Law. And Law says that prestidigitation is useful. Sure, we can do that. Dancing Lights, Prestidigitation, and Vicious Mockery. Now she gets 5 level 1 spells and 2 level 2 spells. This might help a little bit. First level, right here. Animal Friendship, Bane, Charm Person, Comp Languages, Cure Wounds, Detect Magic, Disguise Self, Dissonant Whispers, Fairy Fire, Featherfall, Healing Word, Heroism, Identify, Illusory Script, Longstrider, Silent Image, Sleep, Speak with Animals, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Thunderwave, or Unseen Servant. If you don't know what any of these do, let me know and I can scroll to them. But I'm open for suggestions now. We have 5 level 1 spells to give her and 2 level 2 spells. Does Comp Languages allow the caster to speak the language too? She can use Vicious Mockery on anyone. No, that's just for understanding. Tongues allows you to speak. Yep, Civil is correctamundo. So here's the question. If she goes by Janet, would perhaps she have learned Disguise Self so people don't know she's a Dragonborn? Especially, look, if you have someone running around on a ship who can breathe fire, it might be good to not have, especially your enemies, know that. Disguise Self might be a solid choice for her. What does Longstrider do? That is a good question. Let's go down to L's. This might flash. If you're sensitive to that, please look away. I'll tell you when we're done. Okay, here is Longstrider. You touch a creature, the target's speed increases by 10 feet until the spell ends, which is an hour. At higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 2nd or higher, you can target 1 additional creature. So it gives you 10 extra feet of movement. Disguise Self seems like a must anyway. Yeah. You might be able to flavor that as such, King. Or you get like the spell because it is transmutation. Maybe it gives you the animal legs where your knees go on the back and you get the kind of like the recurve to your shin. Actually, I kind of like Tasha's when she isn't fighting brawls. She's at the center of attention, cracking jokes at the tavern. We could do that too. No problem. I'm scrolling again. Scrolling. Okay. So we're thinking Tasha's hideous laughter. We're thinking Disguise Self. Yep, you can cast Long Strider on yourself. You can do an ally as well. Healing Word might not be bad to take. It's not as powerful as Cure, but you can cast it from a distance. And if you're on a ship and someone on the if you're at the bow and someone is at the stern who's getting hurt, you can in the middle of a fight you can heal them from a distance and not have to abandon your post. Something like that might be a good spell. Yep, Laws, Civil's got you covered. Comprehend Languages could be a good one, because if she casts it on herself, she can understand conversations between sailors that are on the ship, or even between 2 ships. And if she is disguised to look like something else, people might not know she's listening in. Doesn't matter if she can't speak it, if she can understand the words. Heroism could be good too. A willing creature you touch is imbued with bravery. Until the spell ends, the creature is immune to being frightened and gains temporary hit points equal to your spellcasting modifier at the start of each of its turns. When the spell ends, the target loses any remaining temp hit points from the spell. You know, she could be using that to bolster. She could use that to bolster bravery among the crew if something's happening. If we're fighting in close quarters combat, in a tavern or otherwise, Thunder Wave could be a good spell to take. Right? That pushes people back away from you, and that could also push people over the edge of a ship. Thunder Wave might be a good one. I'll put it as a placeholder. If you all want something else, shout it out. Let's see if she's also a sailor. Fairy Fire might be good. Could help for navigating some rough waters, or if there's rocks poking up. Unseen Servant could be interesting too. Or again, for roleplay purposes, we do comp languages. No, it's got to go on the list for a seafarer. It's got wave in its name. Yeah, there you go. Instead of thunder wave and its thunder damage, we could just do, we could call it like sea wave, and we could make it, I don't know, force damage or cold damage. We can customize that if we want. Animal Friendship, she can speak to seagulls maybe. They can tell her where there's good fishing, whether there's land close by. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Speak with Animals. Animal Friendship, though, might, you know, carry this message to someone, please. Maybe I should, maybe Hold Person for 2nd level. She might be lawful good, but she doesn't always fight fairly. Well, yeah, that could possibly be a choice there. Or she casts Hold and as part of things. And I was even thinking Knock would be interesting, because if they are pirates, they're going to be encountering a lot of. I mean, you have the stereotypical treasure, right? That's buried. But if you're raiding other ships, everything's going to be locked, right? And so the knock spell would come in handy to know, so you can get through locks on treasure chests or locks to captain's crew or captain's quarters, things like that. Knock could be very interesting. To that extent, Shatter might also be useful too. Or Zone of Truth. Tell us where you hid your gold. Oh, Speak with Animals actually is a 1st level. Let's do that. Speak with Animals. That way she can talk to the seagulls and other things to know about where there's good fishing, where there's, if people are around, if they've seen other ships. I think that makes sense. Then we have some 2nd levels. We have Hold Person. Do you all like the knock idea? Do you think that a pirate would have the knock spell? That seems pretty good. Also, we were talking about once she starts gambling, it's hard for her to stop as a flaw. And she's proficient with 3 instruments and carries 1 on her. Knock or locate object. Yeah. Don't have time to lockpick in mid-raid. All right, well, you know, think about her instruments. I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to get up, get some water. This Viking helmet is actually pretty warm, so I don't want to bake my brain here. I'm going to be gone 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll come back, and we're going to generate another character from the ground up. So, Laws on Me, you'll be in on the ground floor here. And this character will be a companion of sorts to Janet. And, I don't know, we'll see where it goes. And you'll see how we do story-based random character generation.